Hi! So, my name is Alexis, and so obviously this is my first YouTube video, and basically I just wanted to talk about something that no one ever talks about, and it's just kind of annoying that no one talks about it. There's such a stigma around it. It's just like, don't talk about it and deal with your own problems, and that is mental illness. So, mental illness consists of many different things. It's not just depression. Mental illness is depression, could be depression, anxiety, OCD, schizophrenia, like many different things. It's not just one thing, but the most common mental illness is depression, and then I would say anxiety, because usually they go hand in hand. But so I just want to talk about them because it's something that no one talks about, and now I realize like a lot of people do have a mental illness and they don't want to share it or talk about it or get help for their mental illness. So I think it's important to end the stigma of mental illness. It shouldn't be something that we're ashamed of, or that we don't want to talk about, or we just don't want to get help. So I just want to like put it out there for everyone and just talk about it. So that's what this video is basically going to be about. And if you're not interested, then just don't watch. It's not worth it. Like, there's no reason to watch something you don't want to watch. So basically, I want to talk about mental illness because it's something that I have personally struggled with, and a lot of people don't know who think they know me, but I only told like my few close friends. So I have anxiety and depression. I've struggled with them for a few years now, and it's just something that is always, I feel like maybe I'm always going to struggle with, but I really don't know. And I don't want to think too much about the future about it, because thinking about the future does give me anxiety, and then it could bleed into depression because it makes me really sad if like I just feel like really hopeless or like undetermined, and it just goes on of overthinking. So yeah, I just want to, so basically just, sorry I'm not really good at this, but I just wanted to talk about it and get it out there that if you're struggling with depression or any other mental illness, like, you're not alone. I struggle with it, and it's something that's really hard for me to admit, and I really want to make this video to let everyone know that you're not alone, and it's okay if you're struggling. Just know it will get better. That's something that I never believed in, and it's really hard for me to think about, like, oh, it will get better. Like, I used to never think it would get better. I used to just think it would just go downhill. And so basically, I changed my mind about that because I've been going through depression about like since freshman year of high school, and I graduated in like last year of high school. So it's been a while, and like my depression got really bad around like December to like maybe it was like actually like probably October to January, and actually just I had to stop going to University of Arizona, where I went for the first semester. I had a semester off, so that was really hard for me. But from this whole experience of me taking time off for myself, I realized so many things. Like, it sounds weird, like such a thing, like, oh, I'm realizing so many things, but basically, like, I've been struggling so much in these past few months because it's just really hard to get out of that really dark place of depression. And I basically realized that it's best to try to get help. And basically by help, I mean going to therapy, like going to see a therapist, and then if it comes to it, maybe your therapist needs you to see a psychiatrist. And then it comes to that. But you shouldn't be ashamed of going to a therapist or psychiatrist. If you feel like you need the help, then you should get it, because you're never really gonna, if you're really in a really dark place, you're not gonna know what to do if you don't have like your resources. And they will help you like so much, like beyond words. I don't even know how to explain how much. It's just like a totally different experience and with time it will help. Like, I know everyone always is like, oh, it will get better in time, and that's so true. Like, now that I think about it, like, things have got so much better between now and January. Like, I went through a really, really dark time. So I don't know, you just have to try to think it will get better. And I know it sounds really tough when you're in a really dark place, but it really will, I promise you. Like, I never thought I would honestly be here today making a video about mental illness. And it's crazy that, like, I'm here today because a few months back I would not have been here. So I'm glad I'm here. I'm thankful that I have, like, my family to support me and my friends. And, like, that's one of the most important things, is you need to have a support system. You need to have a friend to go to, or like one of your family members, or say even like a teacher, or just someone who you can talk to. Because it's really important to not hold everything inside. Even though, like, a lot of people are like, I don't want to talk about my problems or whatever. I mean, you don't have to talk about your problems to literally everyone, but just to people you feel comfortable with. And I know it's really hard, because for me, I have a hard time trusting people, and I don't really like talking about my problems, but I realize it's honestly much better to get it out than to hold it inside. And it just sounds like something that's pretty obvious, but for a lot of people, especially if you have a mental illness, it's hard to talk about it, because for one, a lot of people don't understand, and for two, like, they just feel like, oh, I don't want them worrying about me. So that's why a lot of people with mental illnesses don't talk about it, or don't choose to talk about it. But, like, I guess I could say, when you have a mental illness, you don't have to tell everyone, and you can just tell, like, certain people who you trust and you know you can talk to and they'll understand. I mean, sure, I'm making this video right now, but, like, it took me a really long time to, like, get comfortable with saying I have a mental illness. And it's not something that may go away tomorrow, but, like, it's getting, my depression and anxiety are getting better, but that doesn't mean I will never go, I'll still have up and downs. Like, there'll be one week where I'm more down than the last week, and I'll never really know. Depression is kind of, I guess, you don't really know, but you have to just try your best to not get to a really dark place, is how I would word it, I guess. So, I mean, it's a lot for me talking about it right now and putting it out on the internet, but I think it's so important to just talk about it. Because if we're just, like, hiding mental illness and, like, shaming it and saying, like, oh, those people are crazy, or that's not even a real thing, or just whatever, like, there's so many things people say about it, and it just makes you feel like crap, because you're like, why would I want to talk about what's going on with me if people are just gonna, like, put me down about it? But it shouldn't be like that, and I just really want to try to put it out there that I feel everyone should try to support each other. And if you think your friend is going through something, or a family member, just try to talk to them about it. And if you find out they are going through a mental illness or something, like, say they're going through depression, anxiety, OCD, whatever, you should try to help them as much as you can. I think the biggest thing is support, because a lot of people don't know what to do when they know someone who is depressed, or they found out one of their friends were depressed, or a family member. But I think the biggest thing is just to be there for them. And I know it's kind of hard, because sometimes that person, or whatever, like, that person will not really want to go out or want to do anything, or just feel like a lot of social anxiety, or just, like, anxiety in general, because anxiety isn't just social anxiety. Anxiety is, like, you're anxious about literally everything. Like, you're overthinking. It's not just like, oh my god, I'm overthinking about this test. No, it's like you're literally overthinking about everything, and you're like, what could go wrong? What's gonna happen? Like, if I do this, is that person not gonna like me anymore? You're always, like, overthinking, but it's not just, like, regular overthinking. It's, like, times 10 overthinking, basically. And that's why, like, I mean, I personally know more about depression and anxiety because I deal with it. I can't really speak too much on the other mental illnesses, but for those two mental illnesses, a lot of the times people just have a hard time getting out the house, or talking about it. So it's just best to support them as much as you can. You could just be like, hey, I know you're feeling down. Would you want me to like come over and we can watch movies, or something like simple like that? Or even if you just call them, it's best to like call, even if your friends don't have something going on with them, just call your friends every now and then, call a family member every now and then, because I'm sure they would love to hear from you, and it'll just make their day. So just little things can help someone no matter what. You don't know what anyone is going through. Like, if it's not a close friend, really close friend, you don't know what anyone is going through. Like, everyone is going through something. You should just try to take into account, like, wow, I don't know truly what they're going through, but literally everyone is just trying their best. Sometimes your best might not be like your, I guess, your overall best. Like, say if you like having a really bad week, but you're still like that at the time, that person is trying their best for what is going on for them. So that's what I'm trying to think about, like the more positive side of things. I know it's really hard to think positive at times, but it's a lot better for you in your mind generally. And just negativity will get you nowhere. Obviously, it's pretty obvious, but it's hard for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, to not think negatively or not think of the worst. So yeah, I just want to try. I mean, maybe I'll make more videos about mental illness, but for now, like, this is what I want to get out there, that it's okay to talk about it. It's okay if you have a mental illness, and you should just try to talk to someone about it if you really feel like it. Well, I would suggest, if you're really going through something if you feel like you're having a mental illness for more than like a month, then I would try to talk to a therapist, or talk to your doctor if they know any therapists, or like look up any therapists around you. There's even group therapy, and then if you really feel like you need medicine, then go to psychiatrists. There's so many different places out there. If you need help, then you just have to make the effort to do it. I know it's really hard, but you could always ask someone, hey, can you help me find a therapist? Like, just someone you trust, honestly. I know it's like one of the hardest things to do, to try to finally like say, okay, I need to get help. But it's going to be one of the hardest things to do, but honestly, one of the most beneficial things to do. It will help you so much in the long run, and I just encourage everyone to just do it, you know? Because I hear sometimes like, oh, like my friend is going through something really bad or whatever, and like I feel really sorry for them, but it's like, you should tell them like, hey, maybe like try to just support them, and then maybe don't say it in like a rude way, but maybe like, have you ever thought about seeing a therapist? Like, I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just like, I want the best for you. And it's just one thing too with mental illness, is it's important to use your words wisely, because like a certain word or phrase will tick them off and get them frustrated, you know? So, sorry. But in general, like, this is just the main topic I want to talk about. I'm not like kind of like all scrambled in my mind right now, but there's always help out there if you need it. And I personally have gone to a therapist and psychiatrist. I'm finally like not afraid to admit it. I feel like it's important to just talk about it, because a lot of people are going through like the same thing, and they just need someone like to look up to and feel like, oh wow, I'm not alone. And a few people on social media, like say YouTubers, they've helped me a lot. Or like this Instagram I really like, called Sad Girls Club. I know the name sounds funny, but they have a lot of like supportive people on there. And another website that's really good is the Semicolon Project. It's just a lot of good resources on there, and then you can even like sign up, I guess, and then talk about what you're going through with other people. I personally haven't signed up. I mean, I want to, but I just go on there for resources and just look at information. And the person who created the Semicolon Project actually did have depression, and it's really sad, but I think she passed away a year or two ago. She actually ended up committing suicide, so it's very sad. But sometimes you just need to do your best to get the help you need. Suicide is not something that people are being selfish for. It's something they're not like just thinking about themselves, I guess. Like, I'm sure you kind of do think about the other people if you do want to, if you're having suicidal thoughts, but at the same time, you're thinking about, wow, like, I've been feeling this pain for so long, I just want it to go away. Or you just get so deep in depression that you just feel like nothing can get better from here. So from this video, I want people to realize that we shouldn't shame other people who have mental illness or shame people who died from a mental illness. Like, having a mental illness is really hard, and I just want everyone to try to research it and learn about it. I mean, you don't really have to, but I mean, if you have someone you know, and usually a lot of people do have a mental illness, it's important just to be there for them, learn about it, and figure it out, because I know it's something that's hard to understand, but the more you like try to learn about it and not shame people, the better, because we shouldn't just put a stigma on it and be rude to people who have a mental illness, because it's just not right. So that's pretty much it, but I also wanted to talk about a few books that I like about mental illness. So, I mean, this isn't a book, but this is just a journal that I use. Journals are like super helpful. I didn't think so at first. I mean, I don't use it as much as I want to, but basically it's just to get your thoughts down. If you have any like little notes you want to write yourself, or if you're having a good day, a bad day, an okay day, it's important to just let it out. Even if you can't let it out to a friend or family member, just get a journal. Like, it's so helpful, and there's probably like journal prompts online that you can use or whatever, so that's really helpful for me sometimes. And this book is like, it's kind of cheesy, but I really like it whenever I'm like kind of feeling down, and it's just 14,000 things to be happy about. That says at times it is hard to think about like the little things that make you happy, or like just in general. I mean, like, say, like, I open this page and it says, I'm trying to think of one that actually I like, but let me go to another page. Like, say, this one's it's just like random little things. It's not even like full sentences. It's just like a bunch of little like short things that can make you happy. Like getting the teacher you wanted, or owning a house, or generous words towards others. What else do I like? Snack sessions. That's funny. Hanging up clothes in a color order. I don't do mine in a color order, but I do it in some order, so that's kind of like something I like. But just like little things that you wouldn't even think. There's so many different things little things that could make you happy. Like this one I really like because I've gone into this. It says a variety of watercolor palettes. Painting is also really helpful if you're feeling down or you just want to do something new. It's kind of relaxing. So that's one of the books. This book is kind of like that book, I think it's called like Wreck Your Journal or something. So it's called How to Be Happy, or at least Less Sad. And it's kind of like you just do like a bunch of little things. Kind of like a journal mixed with like a workbook, I would say, I guess. But it's helpful. I mean, I honestly haven't used it that much, but I've had like not a lot of motivation to do it because just looking at it. But I need to use it more, I'll admit it, but that's probably pretty helpful. This book my friend Leslie lent me, and honestly it's so amazing. I mean, it's not necessarily about mental illness, but it's about a young girl who got into drugs, and then she was just like going through so much. She like lost her family. I mean, there's some parts that I a little bit related to, just like in the sense that there's so much going on in your mind and you're like so confused about life, and that's how she was. And it was really sad because at the end, like, it's anonymous, but at the end, I guess she drug overdose. So that was really, I mean, it's a sad book, but it was just a really good book. It's a great read. Go ask Alice. So this book is pretty good. I read the anxiety one. I read half of this book, but my dad read it and it helped him a lot to understand. It's called Hardcore Self-Help Fuck Depression. And the guy is really honest. I think he's a psychiatrist. So, and his website is hardcoreselfhelp.com. It's like a really, I guess, modern version of talking about depression, so it's really helpful. He also has Hardcore Self-Help Fuck Anxiety. I don't know if he has any more, but they're pretty funny and they're really helpful for people if they're struggling with depression or anxiety, or if you're trying to understand it more. So that's a good one. And this one I just started, but I like it a lot so far. It's called Buddha's Brain. My therapist lent me it, and I'm really happy like she did, because I like it so far, and it's just so interesting because it's talk about like the brain, and it's just basically like about the brain and like Buddha's theory and happiness and how to like achieve it. And like obviously you're not going to have 100% happiness all the time, but try to help you have more happiness, I guess. So those are a few books I really like. And the website's like Semicolon Project, and I know there's like, let me look, there's another website. It is National Alliance on Mental Illness, and that stands for NAMI.org, and it has some information on mental illness. So those two websites would be really helpful, and I'm sure if you just don't understand, you can always just like research about it. There's so many books at like the bookstore about mental illness and psychology. I personally think psychology is so interesting personally, just because like I do struggle with like mental illness, so and that's part of psychology. And mainly another reason why I want to make this video is because I realized I want to get my voice out there and maybe one day be an activist for mental illness, but this is like my start, I guess. And plus, May was Mental Illness Month, if anyone didn't know. And I did want to get a video out in May, but it was just a lot going on. So it's June now, but I did it. And if anyone needs to talk to me, or just you need someone, just basically if you need someone to talk to, I'm always here, so just message me. I know what it's like going through depression and anxiety. I know what it's like going through really, really hard times. I mean, we all go to different hard times, but just if you need anyone, I'm here basically. And just always try to talk to your friends or family. Like, you should never feel alone, because you're never truly alone. Because you're always going to have someone always loves you. And yeah, that's it basically. I wish you the best, and stay strong. It will get better, and this too shall pass.